vlog of just how our day went and what we did and what I made for dinner when I got a request that I thought would be really cool to do and a lot of people could relate to, and it was how did I overcome being a young mom. I mean, I still am a young mom. And how did my parents react? So I'm going to start with Armani because he is 3 years old and he's my first. With Armani, I was 16 years old and I was living with his dad. Before Armani, I didn't really care about school and I didn't care what ended up happening. Like, I didn't realize how important school was. Uh-oh. Thank you. I didn't realize how important school was before I had him. So he's trying to give his brother stuff to entertain him with. But anyways, so how my parents reacted was I was in the hospital in December of 2014 for a kidney infection, and I was there for a couple weeks. I was finally released a day before Christmas Eve. So I didn't realize I was pregnant because I mean I wasn't yet, or else the hospital wouldn't found out. But I was on a birth control patch that I had taken off because I was on a whole bunch of antibiotics for a kidney infection. And going home, I never put the patch back on. So I mean, it was bound to happen. I just didn't think it would happen that fast. So I took it off in December, and then I found out in February that I was having a baby. And I found out with my best friend, one of my best friends, Selena, with me. She went with me to get a test, and I found out, and the first person I called was my mom. I let her know, hey mom, I'm having a baby. She wasn't really mad at me or upset with me. Sorry, as I was saying, my mom wasn't really upset with me. She was more upset at the fact that I was far away from Washington because that's home for me. So she was upset that I wasn't close to her, and being so young and having a baby, I think that would upset me too if I had a daughter and she was so far away and was having a baby and I couldn't be there with her. My dad, I called him, I let him know, and he hung up and didn't talk to me for a whole week. And after a week, he called me and was like, are you gonna name him after me? And after that, I knew that he was okay with it finally. Like, it just took him a while to process it. At 12 weeks, I ended up going back to Washington because I felt alone and I felt like I didn't have the support system that I wanted or needed. Because really, when I moved to Washington, my mom was what I needed. My mom was with me through every appointment. My mom was with me through every ultrasound, every pain, every worry. She was there with me. And that's what I needed, because if I would have stayed here in Colorado, I wouldn't have had that. You know, like at 16, you're still a kid. You still want your mom. So being pregnant at that age, that's who I wanted the most. That's who I wanted with me. So moving to Washington when I was pregnant, it was the best decision I ever made because I didn't feel so alone and so sad about it in Washington. I was okay with it. So upon arriving at Washington, I didn't just sit around and wait for Armani to be born. Oh my gosh. I Googled different schools that I could go to so I could finish high school. So while I was doing that, I decided to do an online program where I did online school and then went to the school once a week to check in on my progress and stuff. So I did that, and then when Armani was 5 months old, I thought, well, what am I gonna do after high school? Like, I'm gonna have my diploma, and where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna work? So I decided to sign up and pay for CNA classes. That was a suggestion from my mom. I honestly didn't even know what a CNA was before she suggested it, and she explained it to me because my mom worked in hospitals when I was younger. So she explained it to me, and I thought, I mean, I could do that, you know, it pays good. And so I ended up doing that, and I graduated in April 2016. And I ended up doing that. I passed my test. I pushed it off for a while because I was really scared I wasn't gonna pass. So I pushed it off and I pushed it off, and I didn't take it until I was actually 17. In December, I took it after my birthday, and I actually, it's okay guys. So I actually ended up passing it with flying colors, and at 17, I got a job at a home health. And I did that until Armani was 2, and I really loved it. It was a house with 6 residents. It was an awesome job. It paid good. I loved it, and I did that for Armani. Like, I wanted a career for him. And then he turned 1 in September of 2017. No, it was still 2016. He turned 1. And yeah, in 2016, and then we moved back to Colorado January 2017. We moved back to Colorado with his dad, and I ended up working at a nursing home for a couple months, even though a hospital is where I wanted to be. And Armani's dad kept pushing me to do it, and I was just like, no, I'm not gonna get the job if I apply. Like, I've only done 2 jobs. I've only been a CNA for less than a year. Like, they're not, you know, they're just not. So one day I just decided to do it, and I did get in. I got into a surgical unit at the hospital here in Greeley, where I worked for a whole entire year. While I was there, I learned so much. And experienced so much stuff. And at the time, I was only 18 years old, so I was the youngest employee on our floor. I was the youngest one. I had just turned 18 because my birthday's in December, and I started the job in March. So I was the youngest one on the whole floor, and it was kind of difficult because I was a mom, and I couldn't really relate. That was the only reason I could relate to people. Other than that, they were all older than me and couldn't relate to it like me because I was younger, and they were all older than me. But once they would find out I was mom, you know, they wouldn't really criticize me, but you could tell that they were just like, oh, like, ooh, you're a mom, and you're only 18. What age did you have him at? And when I was pregnant with Armani, when I was younger, and he was younger, or before I even had him, I got so much judgment, so much criticism. But to me, that never got to me because I never thought as myself as a young mom. I always just thought as myself as a mom. I never thought, oh, I'm a young mom. No, I'm a mom. Just like she's a mom. Just like she's a mom and she's a mom and she's a mom. I'm a mom too. I never thought of myself as a young mom. So the criticism and judgment didn't get to me because I didn't care. Anyways, so while I was on the surgical floor, I was there for a little while when I found out I was pregnant with Elias, which is right here. Hey. So as I was saying, I was only 19 when when I found out I was pregnant with Elias. I was still working on the surgical floor. I was almost at my year when I had him working there. And here's Nova. Finding out being pregnant with Elias was way more shocking and traumatizing for me because he was literally a birth control baby. I had just gotten my depot shot the same week I found out I was pregnant. So, and I had been on time with it every single month. I was never late, and I was never, you know, it's always been good. Birth control, the depot is good for 3 months. I got pregnant in month 2 of being on the birth control. So it's not like it was a fresh new shot or a shot about to expire. It just happened in the middle, and I feel like it was meant to happen because if Elias was conceived on birth control, it was meant to happen. And a lot of young moms say, oh, I wish I could go back and I would do it a different way, or I would have waited to have kids. Honestly, I don't wish I waited. I feel like I was meant to be doing this. I don't know what I would be doing if I didn't have my kids. I don't know if I would have the career that I have now if I didn't have my kids. I don't know if school would motivate me if I didn't have my kids, because they are my motivation. So I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't go back and say, oh, be a year older. to have our money at 17. No, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change at what age I got pregnant with our money or what age I had him. I wouldn't change the fact that I had another baby at 19 and raised 2 babies under 2 years old. I wouldn't change it because they are my motivation. Our money motivated me to finish school and get a career. Elias motivated me to continue school and go for my RN. If I didn't have the kids, I wouldn't care, you know? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I'd have nobody to do it for except for myself. And at that age, I didn't care if I did it for myself. So I did overcome a lot of criticism, a lot of judgment, a lot of comments. Like now that I work at a different unit, and now that I have 2 kids and I'm married and, you know, with their dad, I get comments like, oh, what age did you have your first son? And when I tell them, they say, and are you still with his dad? Like, are they from the same dad? Like, yes, they are. People right away assume that you don't stay with the baby's dad that you had at 17 because those relationships don't usually last. And I've seen a lot of successful relationships, and I'm glad ours was successful, and I'm glad we beat the odds and we beat the stereotypes, and I beat the stereotypes. I'm glad we did survive having kids young, and now we're raising them together. Like, you know, those comments didn't hurt me, and I still go through them when people are like, oh, are they from the same dad? Like, yes, they're from the same dad, and even if they weren't, you know, why would that matter to you? So I still go through those comments here and there, but they don't bother me anymore because, I mean, oh well, you know. I did it for my kids. I did that for my kids, and I did overcome a lot of stuff. I overcame so many stressful nights trying to have a newborn at 16 and then finish school. And then in senior year, having a crawling baby and trying to finish school, taking him to class with me. I did overcome that, and we overcame a lot of relationship struggles, and I'm glad we overcame them because now we have our 2 beautiful babies and we have our home. Elias ran out of Cheerios. Anyways, we did go through a lot of relationship struggles. I mean, what couple doesn't, you know? But I'm glad we've made it here. 6 years later, we have 2 kids, we have our home. 6 years later, we're still, you know, trying to make it work. I mean, I'm not saying you have to because of the kids. I mean, I love my life. I love raising 2 kids at 2 years old. I was meant to do this. I was meant to be a mommy. Mommy! Yes! Yeah, I was meant to be your mommy, huh? Right? Who's your mom? Mommy. Where's your mom? Where? What's my name? Mommy. Yes. So yeah, my kids motivated me. My kids helped me not care about the stereotypes that there was out there for young moms. My kids helped me overcome stuff. My kids, I feel like no matter what, my kids will come first. No matter what, that's who will come first. And if I need a reason to keep going, it's right there. That's my reason to keep going. So why ask for a reason when I know these are my reasons? Love you. Love you. So stay tuned for our next video, and I'll see what I do. Sorry, Mom. Oh, it's okay. For my next video. But I hope you guys enjoyed my little chit chat about young moms. And if you are a young mom, just know you can do it. You really can. 16, 15, whatever age you are, you can do it. You can make it happen. Like, don't listen to those little comments or those judgments, because at the end of the day, those comments don't matter, and those people who made them, they're not around. They're not buying your kids diapers or raising them. They really aren't, so they really shouldn't matter. So if you're a young mom, just keep pushing. Keep going, and even if you have 3 kids, 4 kids, 2 kids, 1 kid, you can do it. You really can. I'll take every single and with those, I'm sorry.